Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. So in this video I'm going to take a look at these computer parts here. These are for a Commodore 128D. In a status update last summer I actually told you that I was planning to build up a Commodore 128D because I got most of the parts now. I also got made a brand new power supply for it, and I have the motherboard and the case. However, I have been postponing this project for a while now, but now I thought I'll start a little bit of planning at least. So for me the Commodore 128D is kind of a dream machine, dream 8-bit machine from Commodore. Through the last years I have acquired various parts for it, and the reason I did that was because I wanted to have one of my own. But then a couple of years ago I suddenly got hold of a complete and working Commodore 128D, which I bought, but I still want to finish this project with the parts I have to build up another machine. Before I continue, I just want to say thank you to my sponsor PCBWay. They do a great job at producing prototype PCBs. I have used them many times, so I really appreciate the cooperation. If you want to have produced your own PCBs, then just visit PCBWay.com and you can get an instant quote right now with 10 PCBs for as low as $5 US. Besides PCB manufacturing, they also do CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication and 3D printing. So that's all your needs for your hobby projects. Also visit their shared project site where you can find a lot of ready-made great designs, which you can order PCBs directly from this site. So go ahead and visit PCBWay.com right now. What I got is the metal case and it looks alright. I have a 1571 internal floppy disk drive that I have tested before and it was okay, it worked fine. I was missing the power supply, but I got this one, a modern power supply made by Ray Carlson from the United States. He has been building various kind of power supplies for a Commodore machine through the years. I think he's planning to retire now, but he built this for me and sent it, yeah, it looks very nice. And he also had the actual original bracket for the Commodore 128D, and this is for the 230 volts PAL machine. Then I have a capacitors kit here for the 128D or regular 128. Gonna replace those eventually. Then I have the motherboard, and it is a Commodore C128 DCR motherboard, so it matches the case. But I don't know the status of this. I bought this quite cheaply a few years ago, and then it was fully populated with chips. Unknown state otherwise, but as you can see now it's missing a great number of essential chips, and the reason for that is that I have been using some of the chips when repairing other Commodore 128s before. Yeah, even misses some chips here as well. However, many of these chips I have just desoldered just for testing, and concluded that they were working, and they are still here in this box. So that's some part of the job here is to solder them back and get them into sockets. The whole board needs a clean. Might not be working. There might be chips that are broken, or there might be something else broken. But my plan for this video is to get a inventory now and figure out what I need and see if we can actually power this board up and see if it can actually run eventually. Obviously, it can run without some of the chips, but some are essential. If I need some chips, I need to figure out how to find those, and that's why making this video might take a long time. It's now in the middle of October 2023. Alright, let me just start by cleaning up the board. I always like to work with clean boards, and then let's take an inventory here, see what we got, and for that I need to pull out the schematics. I don't know what the different chips are by looking at the numbering only, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. First of all, just gonna clean up this board. I'm gonna take it down to my garage and blow away all the dust with some compressed air, and then I'll be back. Alright, the board has been cleaned and it looks alright. A little bit dirty still, I can tell for sure, but that's okay. The chips that are missing, I made a list here. It's 14 chips, and maybe this one was missing originally, but I have to do some inventory. I have a bunch of chips here that I think goes into this motherboard. I need to figure out which ones I'm still missing. I also cleaned up all the pads where the chips was desoldered, and I'm gonna replace, I'm gonna solder sockets there. However, I also noticed on the backside where the chips were desoldered, some places are missing a few pads. For example, there 2 pads are missing, but those are not connected anywhere, at least not on this side. So I just need to make sure that I am aware of all the places where a pad and probably a via is missing, and make sure I get that fixed when I solder in sockets. Okay, let's solder in some sockets. Okay, all the sockets are in, and I even had the 48-pin socket. Those are kind of hard to find, but I got it. And a couple of places where the pads were lifted on the back side, I actually had to patch just one. It was on this one. All the rest were either not connected, or I was able to solder through to the other side, so everything is good now, I think. So let's just figure out what kind of chips I have and what I'm missing. U11, which is the 8721, which is in fact one of the most difficult chips to find for the Commodore 128. I actually have that. No, I do not know if all these chips are working or not, so just have to come back to that later whenever I actually try to power this on. U10 is the Zilog Set 80, and I got that as well. Yeah, this was probably the one that was in this board originally. I just pulled it out to debug some other boards some time ago. The chips that have been pulled, they have a little bit short legs, but it seems like these sockets are alright, so they're sitting fine down there. U6 is the 8502, and that's the CPU, let's call it 6510, only a newer variant. This is 8502 R0, and it's from 1987. So that was the major large chips. Those are good. Now, of course, one of the most important chips in this machine, besides the CPUs, is the VIC-2, and it's here, and that's 8566 R3. So just inserting that. Just happy to have that. Alright, some good news. I actually had all the chips, and that was something I didn't expect. I thought I was missing some, but now the board is fully populated. Yeah, I got a couple of RAM chips here. This is the SRAM for color RAM, and yeah, everything is now in place. This one is not populated because it's an yeah, some kind of ROM expansion you can add if you want. I think there is a couple of bodges that were here original around these chips. I don't remember. I have to check that up, but I think the board will work without it. However, I don't know if all the chips work, and I don't know if this board was faulty when I got it, so that will be interesting. So actually I'm going to try and fire it up now and see if we get any result. I also need this connector over here that's missing. I don't think I have that exact type. I have the correct connector, but the pin layout is a little bit different on that one in the front. I can probably solder it in anyway. This is the video connector, I think. And I need a RF modulator. I think I have a couple of spares. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna use the original or use some modern replacement. I'll see about that. Here's the modern power supply, and I'm gonna hook it up, but I'm not really sure which way the contact goes. By the direction of how it's twisted, I think it goes like this, but it can go both ways on this connector. One way to figure out which way it should go is to find out which of the pins are ground, and then figure out what is ground on the contact. And it's most often it's the black ones, but then you can just figure out that from the power supply. It's probably labeled here as well. Yeah, it was like I thought. The two blacks are ground, and this corresponds to the two ground pins on this connector. Yeah, then hook up to the mains. This is obviously dangerous. You have mains voltage here, and yeah, if you accidentally touch that, then you are in big trouble. But I'll try to be careful. So turn it on, and then turn the power supply on. And nothing blue. Let's check some voltages here. No, I haven't tested the power supply before, so I don't know if it's working or not. I suppose it is, since it was made by Ray Carlson, but let's check. Yeah, there's 5 volts and 4.5, and there's 14 volts, that's the 12 volts. So do we have anything on any of the chips? Let's check this one. Yeah, 5 volts there. Okay, so we have voltages to the board. Cool. Gonna check if there's something that's too hot or anything like that. This one is warm, but yeah, nothing seems to be overly hot. You know what? I just need to hook up some monitor here and see if we actually get any picture from this. Maybe it's been working all the time. Yes, that's the video port that is missing. I have one here. However, the front supporting pins do not match the holes there. I could just bend them down and solder in this there, but seems to be a little bit no, it might fit. It's the same height, although probably not like the original. I'm gonna check a little bit around some old parts boards, see if I can find an exact match. I found an old Commodore 64 parts board. Yeah, it's missing most of the vital chips. Yeah, and that actually has the video port, and with the wider ground pins in the front, so this will fit perfectly. So I'm just going to desolder this and use this there. I actually got some new parts for my desoldering station gun here, and that should solve my issues with low sucking power on this. Oh yes, much better. Still, these are very thick pins and large holes. I think I need some more heat on this. Large ground plane, so it's hard to desolder. Very hard to get these cleared and needs a lot of heat. I have my station to the max, 480 degrees Celsius. I think they're almost there. Yes, that's out. Okay, let's see if it fits. Probably will. Yeah, perfect. It doesn't have the metal shielding around, but the size seems to be perfect. Yeah, just gonna solder it in and then we can do some testing. Alright, that looks good, and the original contact had one extra anchor point there on the ground plane, but that's not necessary. I think this will keep in place pretty good. Just to make sure I don't insert the contact for from the power to in the wrong direction, I just mark it. Okay, we got power, we got a video connector, and I'm inserting a cable here, and I'm really excited to see if this even shows any picture on the screen. Alright, first test of the motherboard. Does it work? Nothing. Just a black screen. Well, I suppose if it did work first try, then I would be lucky, because I bought this motherboard probably from someone who couldn't make it work. Not really sure. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Obviously you need the RF modulator module in place for this to work at all, even if you use composite video, because those signals are also produced by the RF modulator, so we need that as well to get anything on the screen. So I got a couple of good old Commodore 64 RF modulators. This one obviously doesn't fit, it's too big. I have one here. Yeah, it fits, but is it the correct one? I mean, it seems a little bit simpler than the other ones, so is this for something else? For some other machine? I'm not really sure, I don't remember. I think I just have to take a look at my other Commodore 128D and see how it looks. If this isn't the one. I have to order a replacement. I didn't have any more of those modern replacements. Not really sure if it is exactly the same modulator as in the Commodore 64. I took out my other Commodore 128D. This is in full working condition, and yeah, it's original. It has installed GPFIDOS, so it is a little bit modified, but we can take a look and compare. So this is the original power supply, and as we can see, it's yeah, it looks a little bit more simple than the modern one I got now. Has a large transformer here. This is a wire for a switch on the back side, which is for enabling GPFIDOS. So what I was interested to see is the RF modulator, see if it actually is the same as the one I have. That was quite hard to get off. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty similar. Yeah. That's exactly the same, so that's good. I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, and here's that GPFIDOS ROM, and as you can see, this unpopulated socket is unpopulated here as well. I was talking about some bodge wire I thought was around here on the other board, but this one doesn't have anything, so I don't think I need to worry about that. Okay, let me just quickly solder this in. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit. Yeah, looks a little bit not corroded, but oxidized, this contact. By the way, if you wonder what these two wires are, they are for the floppy drive LED. Seems to just have been cut off, so maybe I need a couple of new wires there. The power LED is controlled for the power supply, and there's 2 extra wires there as well. Okay, now this is cleaned up, really shiny. So time to solder it on then. I'm not gonna add too much solder because I am kind of planning to replace this with some modern solution to get perhaps a little better video output. I made a little solder bridge there, just using the wick to, well, wick it up. Ow! Yeah. Alrighty, let's test it again, see if we get anything on the screen. It's starting to become a little bit crowded here, but I'll manage. Turning on. There's a signal, but still black screen, but at least now there is a video signal, although it is not producing a picture. The reason I can tell there is a signal is because now it says no signal, you can't see it, but as soon as I turn the machine on, it shows SCART, and that did not happen obviously before when I didn't have the RF modulator installed. So black screen. Next step is obviously to try the diagnostics cartridge. I mean, this is the dead test cartridge. Let's see if that gets us anything. Should flash. It usually takes a while to start. No, doesn't seem to give us anything. So yeah, then something more serious is wrong with this motherboard. Okay, status for now. The board has power, all the chips are in place. The chips are in unknown working order. Condition, got a RF modulator in. It produces a black screen signal at least. So next step is gonna try and figure out what's wrong with this board and do some diagnostics, pull out the oscilloscope, check the chips and things like that. But That is probably gonna take a whole video in itself, so I'm gonna stop here, and this was part 1 of this adventure. Alright, that was it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and a special thanks to my patrons. See you next time, bye bye.